The fog rolls thick through cobblestone streets, swallowing screams before they can escape. You pull your leather gloves tighter, the brass rings cold against your fingers. Your shadow stretches long and twisted in the flickering torchlight, a creature born from nightmares and necessity. The year is 1348, and death walks these streets wearing your face. You are a plague doctor, and tonight, like every night, you hunt the dying. Your leather beak cuts through the mist like a ship's prow through black water. Inside the hollow nose, herbs burn. Rosemary, thyme, crushed pearls, a futile prayer against the pestilence that devours everything it touches. The smell of decay seeps through anyway. It always does. The city of Avignon groans beneath the weight of corpses, and you're the only thing standing between salvation and complete annihilation. At least, that's what they tell you. A bell tolls in the distance. 3 strikes. Another soul claimed. You adjust the wide-brimmed hat that shields your identity, feeling the weight of the long black robe that marks you as either savior or demon, depending on who's asking. Children flee when they see you coming. Mothers cross themselves and whisper prayers. But the dying, they reach for you with skeletal fingers, begging for miracles you cannot give. Your first call comes before dawn. The Montclair family, wealthy merchants who thought their gold could buy them immunity. Wrong. The plague doesn't read bank ledgers. You knock 3 times on their oak door, the sound echoing like coffin nails. No answer. You push inside, lantern raised, and the stench hits you like a physical blow, sweet rot and human waste, the signature perfume of the Black Death. The father lies in the parlor, skin mottled black and purple, bobos swollen like rotten fruit beneath his arms. His wife sprawls on the stairs, one hand clutching a rosary, the other reaching toward the second floor where their children used to sleep. You don't need to climb those stairs to know what you'll find. The silence tells you everything. But protocol demands inspection. The church pays your wages, and the church wants documentation. Every corpse counted, every symptom recorded, every soul cataloged for heaven's ledger. You pull out your leather journal, quill scratching against parchment as you note the progression. Fever, chills, vomiting, then the buboes, then death within days. Sometimes hours. The plague moves faster than prayers. You're marking the father's forehead with blessed oil when you hear it. A whimper from upstairs. Faint as a dying candle, but unmistakably human. Your hand freezes. Protocol says the house is contaminated. Anyone still breathing should be quarantined, isolated, left to God's mercy. But that whimper sounds young, sounds terrified, sounds like hope bleeding out through floorboards. The stairs creak beneath your weight as you climb. Each step is a choice between duty and compassion, between the church's orders and your own rotting conscience. The master bedroom door hangs open, revealing 2 small forms beneath moth-eaten blankets. Twins, maybe 7 years old, clinging to each other like drowning sailors to driftwood. Their eyes shine with fever, but they're alive. Barely. The girl speaks first, voice cracked as old parchment. Are you the angel of death? You kneel beside their bed, lantern casting dancing shadows on the walls. Through your leather mask, your voice sounds hollow, otherworldly. I'm here to help. But even as you say it, you taste the lie. Help how? With what? You carry no medicines that work, no cures that last, no hope that doesn't curdle into ash. You check their pulses, rapid, thready, desperate. The boy's lymph nodes are beginning to swell. The girl has the telltale rash spreading across her chest like spilled wine. They have days, maybe less. Protocol demands you leave them. Seal the house. Let nature take its course. But their eyes, Christ, their eyes hold such trust, such faith that you can make this right. You reach into your satchel and pull out a vial of poppy milk. Not a cure, just mercy in liquid form. Enough to ease the pain, to let them slip away without screaming. Your hand trembles as you measure the drops. Too little, and they'll suffer. Too much, and you're a murderer. Where's the line between healing and killing when death is the only certainty? Will it hurt? The girl whispers. You lie again, smoother this time, like falling asleep. She nods, trusting, and drinks without question. Her brother follows. Within minutes, their breathing slows, faces relaxing into something almost peaceful. You sit with them until the end, watching life ebb away like tide retreating from shore. Outside, the fog thickens. Your next call waits 3 streets over. The baker's family, all 6 members showing symptoms. Then the blacksmith. Then the widow Margot, who lives alone with her cats. The night stretches endless ahead. Each house a fresh hell. Each choice another weight on your soul. But tonight feels different. Wrong. As you walk the empty streets, your lantern barely penetrating the mist, you notice things that make your skin crawl beneath the leather. Houses you visited last week, families you helped bury. There are lights in their windows, shadows moving behind shutters that should be nailed tight. Sounds that might be footsteps, might be rats, might be something else entirely. You stop outside the apothecary's shop, the one that's been shuttered for months since old Henrik died screaming. There's candlelight flickering inside. Your heart pounds against your ribs like a caged bird. Henrik's been dead since October. You helped carry his body to the plague pit yourself. So who's lighting candles in his shop? The rumors whisper through the streets like poison, that plague doctors don't heal the sick, they spread the death. That your presence marks houses for destruction. That beneath your leather mask, you're not human anymore, but something else. Something hungry. You've dismissed such talk as superstition born from grief and terror. But standing here, watching impossible light dance in a dead man's window, doubt creeps through your certainty like frost through cracked stone. You push the door open. It swings silent on well-oiled hinges, revealing shelves lined with empty bottles and dried herbs that should have rotted months ago. But everything looks fresh, untouched by time or decay. A ledger lies open on the counter, pages filled with Henrik's familiar handwriting. Fresh ink gleams wet in the candlelight. Your breath mists inside the beak as you read the entries. Names and dates, treatments and payments, all recent, all impossible. Henrik's been dead for 4 months, yet here's his writing, documenting treatments given just last week. Families you know are buried, marked as cured, and sent home healthy. A floorboard creaks behind you. You spin, lantern raised, but see only shadows dancing in the candlelight. Then the whisper comes, soft as silk, cold as grave dirt. Doctor, we've been waiting for you. The voice echoes from nowhere and everywhere, bouncing off bottles that shouldn't gleam, reflecting from mirrors that show no reflection. Your lantern flame gutters, casting wild shadows that move independent of their sources. The leather of your mask feels tighter, constricting, as if the plague has found a new way to suffocate its victims. You back toward the door, but it slams shut with a finality that rattles your bones. The candles flicker but don't die. Instead, they burn brighter, revealing shapes that weren't there moments before. Figures in familiar black robes, beaked masks catching the light like predatory birds. Other plague doctors. But their movements are wrong. Too fluid, too graceful, too alive for men who've spent months walking through hell. Join us, the whisper comes again, and now you see the source. Henrik stands behind his counter, skin pale as parchment but unblemished by plague. His eyes hold the same fevered gleam you've seen in 1,000 dying faces. But he's not dying. He's something else entirely. The work continues, brother. It always continues. Your journal falls from trembling fingers, pages scattering like dying leaves. The entries you've so carefully recorded, every death, every failure, every moment of mercy, seem meaningless now. What if the rumors are true? What if you haven't been fighting the plague but feeding it? What if every house you've visited, every family you've tried to help, every soul you've watched slip away was part of something larger, something hungry, something that wears the mask of healing while dealing only death? The children trusted you, Henrik continues, his voice soft as silk, sharp as steel. Sweet little souls, drinking your mercy without question. How many have you helped cross over? How many bridges have you built between life and whatever comes after? His smile stretches too wide, revealing teeth that gleam like polished bone in the candlelight. You fumble for the door handle, but your leather gloves find only smooth wood. No handle, no hinges, no escape. The shop feels smaller now, walls pressing closer with each labored breath. Through your mask, the air tastes of copper and roses, sweet decay and something older. Something that has been feeding on human suffering since the first plague ship arrived in Messina. Other doctors emerge from the shadows, their movements synchronized like a dark dance. You recognize some. Dr. Amadeus, who vanished last month, Sister Magdalene, who stopped answering the church's calls, the young physician from Marseille, who came seeking knowledge and found only silence. They circle you now, beaked faces tilted like curious ravens, waiting for something you don't understand. The transformation is difficult, Henrik explains, pulling a familiar leather journal from beneath his counter. Your journal. But that's impossible. You dropped it moments ago, and it scattered across the floor. Yet, here it is, intact, pages filled with handwriting that looks like yours but says things you never wrote. Treatments that worked, patients who lived, a success rate that would make you the greatest healer in Christendom. If any of it were true. We tried to fight it at first, Henrik continues, turning pages that rustle like autumn leaves. The hunger, the calling. We thought we were servants of God, angels of mercy bringing relief to the suffering. But mercy, dear brother, is just another word for control. And control is just another word for power. And power, he looks up, eyes reflecting candlelight like a cat's in darkness. Power is what separates the living from the dead. You want to scream, to run, to tear off the mask that's become a prison. But your body won't obey. The leather beak seems to be breathing on its own now, drawing in air that tastes of graveyard soil and frankincense. Your vision blurs at the edges, and for a moment you see yourself as the children must have seen you. Not a healer, but a harvester. Not salvation, but the final darkness wearing a familiar shape. The plague never leaves, whispers a voice that might be your own. It just finds new hosts, new methods, new faces to wear. We are the plague now, brother. We are the mercy it offers and the judgment it delivers. We are the bridge between what was and what must be. Outside, church bells begin to toll. Not the measured strikes marking time or death, but something frantic, desperate, like a heart beating its last. Through the shop's windows, you see torches moving through the fog, a mob carrying crosses and pitchforks, chanting prayers that sound more like curses. They've come for the plague doctors. They've finally understood what you're only beginning to grasp. Henrik closes the journal with a soft snap. They think fire will cleanse what cannot be burned. They think prayer will banish what feeds on their faith. Poor souls. They don't understand that we are the answer to their prayers, just not the answer they wanted. He extends one pale hand toward you. Come, brother. The night is young, and there are so many more houses to visit. So many more souls waiting for our particular brand of mercy. The shop door swings open on its own, revealing the fog-shrouded street beyond. The mob's torches dance like fireflies in the mist, and their voices rise in a hymn you remember from childhood, back when you believed in angels and demons, good and evil, salvation and damnation. Back before you learned that sometimes they're all the same thing wearing different masks. You step toward the threshold, your leather boots silent on cobblestones that gleam wet with something that isn't rain. Behind you, Henrik's laughter follows like an echo from a tomb. Ahead, the mob draws closer, their righteous anger burning bright against the endless night. And somewhere between the devil behind and the fire ahead, you make a choice that will damn or save you. Though in this cursed city, wrapped in plague and shadow, the difference might not matter anymore. Your hand finds the vial of poppy milk still tucked in your satchel, enough for one more mercy, one final choice. But as you lift it toward the dim light filtering through your mask, you wonder, mercy for whom? The mob that hunts you? The city that fears you? Or yourself, trapped between what you were and what you're becoming? The fog swirls thicker, and in its depths, more shadows move. More figures in black robes, more beaked faces turn toward the torchlight like flowers following the sun. The plague spreads, and you are both its cure and its symptom, its enemy and its avatar. The church bells toll midnight, but time has lost all meaning in a world where death wears the mask of healing, and healing tastes like poison on your tongue. The vial slips from your trembling fingers, shattering on the cobblestones like crystallized screams. Poppy milk spreads in dark rivulets between the stones, mixing with something that might be blood, might be rain, might be the tears of a dying city. The sound echoes through the fog-shrouded street, sharp as breaking bones, final as a coffin lid slamming shut. The mob's torches flicker closer now, their chants rising like smoke from a funeral pyre. Burn the crow! Cleanse the streets! God's judgment comes. But their voices sound hollow, desperate, like prayers shouted into an empty cathedral. You've heard those same voices calling for your help just weeks ago, begging you to save their children, their wives, their dying hopes. Now they want your blood to wash away their guilt. You run. Leather boots splash through puddles that reflect no light, past houses where entire families rotted behind barricaded doors. The beak cuts through mist thick as grave shrouds, and your lantern flame dances wild, casting shadows that move wrong, too fast, too hungry, too alive. Behind you, the mob's fury grows like wildfire, but ahead waits something worse than righteous anger. The cathedral looms through the fog, its spires stabbing the belly of the night sky like accusing fingers. Stone gargoyles leer down with faces you recognize: the baker's wife, the blacksmith's son, the twin girl who trusted you with her final breath. Their mouths hang open in eternal screams, and rainwater pours from their eyes like tears for the damned. You crash through the cathedral doors, and silence swallows you whole. No mob, no chanting, no torch flames dancing against stained glass windows that show saints with plague buboes instead of halos. Just darkness so complete it has weight, pressing against your chest like a burial shroud. Your lantern gutters, flame shrinking to a pinprick that barely illuminates your own trembling hands. Then you see them, rows upon rows of figures kneeling in the pews, heads bowed in prayer or death. You can't tell which. All wearing the same black robes, the same leather beaks, the same brass-ringed gloves. Plague doctors, dozens of them, maybe hundreds, filling the cathedral like a murder of crows come to feast on carrion. None of them move. None of them breathe. But their presence fills the air with the weight of unspoken accusations, unfulfilled promises, mercy that curdled into something monstrous. You step closer, lantern raised, and see your own face reflected in their masks, or what your face might become if you stay in this cursed profession much longer. A voice echoes from the altar, soft as silk, cold as winter bone. Welcome home, brother. Father Benedictus emerges from the shadows behind the crucifix, but he's changed. His priestly robes hang in tatters, revealing skin marked with plague buboes that pulse with their own sickly light. His eyes burn with fever that never breaks, hunger that never dies. The church sent me here to bless the dying, he continues, stepping down from the altar with movements too fluid for mortal flesh. To offer last rites, final comfort, peaceful passage to whatever lies beyond. But I learned the truth. As you're learning it now, there is no beyond. There's only the hunger and the feeding and the endless night that swallows every prayer. The seated plague doctors begin to stir, heads turning toward you with mechanical precision. Behind their masks, You hear breathing that sounds like wind through cemetery gates. Their journals rustle as they turn pages filled with names. Names of the dead, names of the dying, names of those who haven't died yet, but will, soon, when the work demands it. "We tried to save them," Father Benedictus whispers, his voice multiplying, echoing from every masked throat in the cathedral. "We measured out mercy in careful doses, recorded every symptom, followed every protocol. But salvation requires sacrifice, and sacrifice requires..." He pauses, tilting his head like a curious bird. "Choice." The plague doctors rise as one, a sea of black robes rustling like autumn leaves in a graveyard wind. They face you now, waiting, expecting, demanding. Your reflection multiplies in their mask lenses until you can't tell which one is real, which one is you, which one will walk out of this cathedral when the night is done. "Choose," the voices whisper in unison, the sound building like thunder in the vaulted ceiling. "Join us willingly, and your transformation will be gentle. Resist, and learn why the plague spreads fastest through those who fight it hardest." Your hand finds another vial in your satchel. Not poppy milk this time, but something darker. Something that shouldn't exist but does, because desperate times birth desperate remedies. Liquid darkness that promises escape, but at a price that makes damnation look like mercy. You've carried it for months, never knowing why, never planning to use it. Now you understand. It was always meant for this moment, this choice, this final decision between what you were and what you must become. The cathedral doors slam shut behind you with the finality of a tomb ceiling. Outside, the mob's torches circle the building, but their light can't penetrate these ancient stones, can't touch the darkness that's taken root in consecrated ground. They'll wait until dawn, then declare victory over an empty building, never knowing what really happened to the plague doctor who vanished into the night. But you know. As you lift the vial toward lips hidden behind leather and brass, you know exactly what you're choosing. The liquid taste of copper and roses, sweet decay, and something older than human memory. It burns going down, then spreads through your veins like liquid fire, remaking you from the inside out. Your reflection in the altar's golden cross shows the truth now. Not a healer, not a harvester, but something between. A bridge across the abyss that separates life from whatever comes after. The plague doesn't kill, it transforms, doesn't destroy, it reveals. Every house you've visited, every family you've tried to save, every soul you've watched slip away was preparation for this moment when you finally understand your true calling. The other plague doctors begin to move, filing out through doors that open onto streets you've never seen before. Streets where the fog never lifts, where the dying never truly die, where mercy wears the face of judgment and healing tastes like poison on your tongue. They gesture for you to follow, and your body obeys without consulting your mind. You walk through the cathedral doors into a world that looks like the one you left, but feels fundamentally different. The mob is gone, their torch is cold, their righteous anger cooled to ash and regret. In their place stand new figures, men and women in black robes, beaked masks gleaming in the eternal twilight, leather journals clutched in brass-ringed hands. Fresh recruits for the endless work that waits in every shadow, every sick room, every heart that beats its last. The fog parts before you, like water before a ship's prow, revealing streets that stretch into infinity. Every door you pass bears the mark of the plague, a red X painted in something that might be blood, might be paint, might be the liquid dreams of the dying. Behind each mark waits a family, a choice, a moment when mercy and murder dance so close together that even angels can't tell them apart. You've walked the razor's edge between salvation and damnation, carried mercy in one hand and death in the other. The plague doctor's burden isn't just the weight of bodies or the stench of decay. It's the terrible knowledge that sometimes healing and killing are the same act wearing different masks. In those fog-shrouded streets of medieval Europe, You learned that the greatest horrors don't come from disease or death, but from the choices we make when both seem like mercy. The beak may have hidden your face, but it couldn't hide the truth, that in a world where God seems absent, mortals must decide who lives, who dies, and who becomes something else entirely.